What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of Overtime with RDL. My guest this week is Louisiana Tech point guard Jianna Morris. It's hard to believe when I wrote this down, but Gianna's in her third season at Louisiana Tech. 78 career games, 78 career starts, fun fact. She's a junior. She's averaging 11 points per game this season, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. She's also shooting a career best 35% from three. Gianna, appreciate you coming on the podcast.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Kind of like I mentioned it there, it's kind of crazy. I was here your first season, and I've gotten you to had a chance to watch you grow just in this program, and obviously seen a lot of different players come and go. But obviously you've been one of the program mainstays. I'm curious, like for you in this era where there's so much talk about like player movement and like let's look for a new opportunity. I guess for you, what has kept you at Louisiana Tech? What do you like about the program?
I definitely think each year coming in, seeing the recruiting that they've brought in, that was really intriguing. I feel like each year I've been here, I've known maybe one or two kids that were coming in. And so I think that's a big thing, just being with familiar faces. That was something that really I wanted to stay and just come and grow and get better.
I'm curious, obviously coming from Sherwood, Arkansas, like how familiar were you with the Louisiana Tech program prior to like maybe them like recruiting you and like kind of taking you on visits? Like, did you know much about the program previously or?
I had heard of it before. One of my AAU teammates when I was in middle school actually came to a camp with her here. Her dad had lived in Ruston. So she was actually one of the ones that introduced it to me first. And ever since then, I've just been coming back and just got more and more familiar with it.
I was gonna say, like, obviously when you officially committed, like, I'm curious, what were some of the things that you were maybe looking for in a program, and like, what do you feel like since being at Louisiana Tech has kind of lived up to what you were hoping for?
Definitely a fit. I think that was a thing, just the way that I play, just really being able to showcase that at this level. Definitely being close to home, family. There were, like I said, familiar faces too. So I think that's something that's pretty much stayed since I've been here. And just like I said, somewhere I can go and showcase and just play. I think that was a big thing for me too.
Absolutely. What's the relationship like with obviously this coaching staff who, again, got to see you develop and grow over the last couple seasons? And yeah, obviously, I'm sure the relationship probably is not where it was your freshman year when you start all those games, play all those minutes. And now, obviously, like there's so many different players around you. There's a lot more depth. Like, what's just kind of the relationship like with the coaching staff at Tech?
I definitely think it's their trust in me has grown. Just freshman year to this year, I think since I stepped foot on campus on the court, they just really instilled that confidence in me that they wanted me to go out there and do what I could do. And I only think that's grown each year as I've gotten better. And then with the coaches, they've been here. Coach Brooke, um, I've been with her, 3 years now. And then even like Coach Caleb, he's actually the one that I've known the longest. I played AAU with him way back when I was in high school. So like I said, always a familiar face. I think that's something that's been real consistent and just really been able, like people that see me know me. It's really just made me comfortable. So I'm out there doing what I can do.
How does Ruston compare, I guess, to Sherwood? Like, is it a similar size, like kind of similar vibe? Like, how would you, I guess, maybe describe like the similar
Um,
differences,
I
maybe?
don't, yeah, I don't think they're similar. I do think Sherwood is a little bit bigger. It's like right there, North Little Rock area. So it's one of those where, for us, Monroe is about 30 minutes away, and that's the next big city. But I feel like in Sherwood, we're a little bit closer to the Little Rock area. But yeah, definitely. I do think it's one of those where it's like you pretty much know a lot of people. Like we have one major high school, Sylvan Hills, in the Sherwood area, and then pretty much everybody that you go to middle school or you go to elementary school with, you go to middle school with. So I do think it's pretty much a small area. Everybody kind of circles around the same people. So in that aspect, I do think they're pretty similar.
Yeah, it's one of those probably cities where like you're always like, hey, let's go somewhere else and like do something fun for the weekend or like
Yeah.
kind of go a little bit further away for sure. I'm curious, like again, since you've been at Louisiana Tech, how have you seen the program change? Obviously, like you mentioned, the coaching staff has stayed pretty much the same. Obviously, the same conference for the most part up until
Yeah.
starting next year. I guess just maybe as a player, what do you feel like has maybe changed in a good way? Since you've been here.
I think for me, just our confidence in knowing what we can do in this league. I think each year that's grown. I think it's something that each year we come in, we see that championship and that title is, closer and closer that we're getting there. And I do think each year we've gotten better and gotten closer to that. So yeah, I think that's something that's grown each year.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna take an ad break and then we'll come back to this interview. This portion of Overtime is sponsored by Smith Law Offices. Mike Smith is a three-time Best of Lincoln Parish Award winner for Best Public Servant and Best Attorney. Smith Law Offices is the premier personal injury law firm in Ruston. Visit Smith Law Offices located at 301 South Bonner Street in Ruston for the expert legal representation you need for your personal injury case. Back here with Gianna. Gianna, this is a segment we like to do in the podcast, just kind of like explain the journey of just kind of like what your background is and just kind of how you got to where you're playing right now. Again, like we mentioned, you're from Sherwood, Arkansas. You're the all-time leading scorer. Last I checked, still in that program. I'm just curious, like when did you kind of realize like playing like collegiate basketball was an actual like attainable goal for you? Like I feel like a lot of kids grow up saying like, hey, I want to play college basketball, but like when did you know like, okay, this is like a sport I can like realistically take with me to the next level?
Growing up, I was someone I played every sport. If there was a sign up sheet, my name was on it. So I think growing up, it was never like basketball was going to be that sport for me. It was really just what I was doing in that moment. And I think as, AAU became a bigger thing, I was playing softball. Like, so softball, I was doing gymnastics. So as I got older and like those things started to become, more time consuming, I had to pick. And so all the way up until high school to my senior year, I was doing softball and basketball. And I definitely think like it was just something like I truly love the game, and it's something I just knew I couldn't get away from. And I definitely think COVID was a big time for me, just being able to get in the gym. I think that's maybe my freshman, sophomore year. I think that was when it was. So that like summer of AAU, just I was able to get in the gym all that summer. The next that summer it was the live period, and I thought I really had a really good live period. And then once I was getting, those type of calls, those type of looks, I really realized that, I can go out there and play at the next level.
I'm curious, like, I hear so much like with regular high school athletes nowadays, like they're kind of specializing, like they're not necessarily like playing the multiple sports throughout the years. Like when you were in high school, was that like common for like a lot of athletes to still play like multiple sports throughout the year? Or do you feel like you kind of saw a lot of your teammates like say, hey, I'm just gonna do basketball or softball? Like what did you kind of see that transition maybe or
Yeah, I don't know too many of my teammates that only played one sport. Like if it wasn't basketball, it was volleyball or track. Like I know pretty much every coach, like you can only play so many sports since those seasons overlapped. And I know if you weren't playing softball, you were running track. If you weren't doing volleyball, you were doing something else. So I definitely think growing up, that was a big thing.
Yeah, I'm curious, so many athletes they're motivated by so many different things. I'm curious, from your time in high school and now obviously at Louisiana Tech, like what motivates you? Like who do you play for? What do you play for when you're, sweating and just getting in that extra work in and you're thinking about like what is this all for? What would you say?
I definitely think it's for like, I would probably say my like 10, 11-year-old self. I wasn't always like the confident person I am on the court. I was that kid that was on the bench and when we were up 30, with a minute left, coach is like, okay, G, you can come in, and so especially like playing in those type of environments and just being on teams that sometimes honestly I just felt like I was better than some of those other players. I just wasn't given the opportunity. And so I definitely think like, having conversations with my family, like they always kept me prayed up and just knowing like your opportunity would come and when it does, like you show what you can do. So I think that's always motivated me. I mean, being doubted, I think even in high school, I was better than some people that some might not thought. And so I think every time I went out there, I just proved who I was. I don't ever really think it's like a personal thing with me and the other person. I just think it's a proving myself right. And so I think I just continue to do that, just go into college. I think, everybody has what they want to say. But I think I know who I am and the people that have worked with me to this point. Like it's also one of those where it's like they've put in the time and a lot of effort. And I feel like I deserve that. I deserve, to show them that they've spent, good amount of time and effort in me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious, like when you're going through that process, like when again, maybe there's a lot more doubters than believers. Like who are some people that throughout your journey, like believed in you from like day one and kind of like, poured into you and just kind of gave you that confidence? Who would you say that was for you?
Definitely my parents. I think no matter what sport it was, whether it was gymnastics, whether it was softball, like they were always there. They've never missed a game. They were always at a practice, always there, always willing to put in the extra work. So I think they were also like they were the support system I needed, but they also put in the work with me. They're when I'm in the gym, they're in the gym, like they just always were willing to do it. If I want to go to the gym at 6 in the morning, my dad was getting up. If I wanted to go in the gym at 11 o'clock at night, my mom was coming with us. Like it was never they always wanted me to be great. And definitely just any of my other family members, like they've been my biggest fans up to this point. I get texts before every game, texts after every game, whether I'm 10 for 10 or 1 for 10, So I definitely think that really keeps me going, keeps me motivated.
Yeah, absolutely. We're taking another ad break, then we'll come back to this interview. This portion of Overtime is sponsored by Rustin Glass. Rustin Glass is a 3-time Best of Lincoln Parish Award winner committed to providing the highest quality of repair, replacement, and installation services. Give them a call or visit them at 512 East Georgia Avenue. From repairing cracked glass to installing commercial storefront, Rustin Glass is prepared to assist you with any needs in the glass industry. Back here with Gianna. Gianna, this is probably my favorite segment of the podcast. We just kind of do some like icebreakers, just kind of get to know who you are, just kind of off the court and what you like to do. I will admit, usually when I have my guests on here, I kind of like to do a social media deep dive. I did see the Lady Texters and in the off season, they kind of did like a get to know you type of graphic, like for each player, and you had some pretty cool answers. I'm curious, you listed for like a special talent of yours, you know how to play trumpet. I'm curious, like what's kind of the backstory on that, and like, are you still able to play today?
Yeah, going into so I was born in Nebraska and then I moved to Mississippi and then I came to Arkansas. And then when I was in Arkansas, they told us going from like fifth grade to sixth grade that you had to either be in band or choir. And I hadn't done neither one of them. And so I just chose band. And then going in there, like my sister played the clarinet. My mom wanted me to play the clarinet. But I don't know, just something about like a brass instrument that I was like, I think that's what I want. And then once we started, testing different mouthpieces and stuff. I ended up playing the trumpet. And so I did that from sixth grade all the way up until high school, really till I couldn't anymore once I started interfering with basketball and stuff like that. But yeah, I still have the trumpet. I don't really play it as much. It's kind of loud. Would hate to do that inside my apartment, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I stopped playing musical instruments. I think like when we learned like the recorder in like elementary school. I think that was like the extent of my talent there. But I mean, you mentioned obviously you played softball as well. Like what position did you play in softball? Like what was kind of your game like on the softball field?
I was all over the field. I think growing up, I was pretty much third base, shortstop, and then I think we had one tournament, our catcher got hurt, so I started catching. I pitched when I was younger, and then once I got to high school, I was pretty much center field, right field. So yeah, pretty much anywhere, wherever they needed me, wherever somebody was missing, I was at.
Yeah, 5 tool player for sure. I'm curious at Louisiana Tech, and this just doesn't necessarily have to be this year's team, but just in general, since you've been there, who would you say is the funniest teammate that you've had in your time at Louisiana Tech?
It would definitely have to be for my freshman year group. Those are the funniest people I've ever met in my life. That whole group was just hilarious. I think Salma Bates, she was someone I still talk to. She had came to our LSU game, hung out with her. Definitely her. We still, crack jokes, still text to this day. So I would have to put her at the top of that list.
What made her so funny? You feel like?
Um, I say this all the time because I think this applies to me too. Like I'm not like the funny that like cracks jokes. I'm like conversationally funny. And I think that like just like those people that just like are quick with it. I think that's hilarious. People that, just it just comes off the top of their head. And that's just kind of how she is, like any moment. And it's just like she always that one person that always has that comment. It just lightens the room. It's hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. I know a couple people like that for sure. What would you say? This doesn't necessarily have to be basketball, but you could take it this direction. What would you say is your biggest pet peeve in life?
Probably something with driving. Anytime like I'm like a person every time I get in the car, I call my mom. Like I talk to my mom 1,000 times a day. And out of those 800 times that I'm calling her, I'm yelling at somebody. Like especially like in Ruston, there's those lights and it's like you can turn right on a red. Like stuff like that just irritates me. Like, yeah, pet peeve, definitely something like that. I also do not like to be rushed. Those are, yeah.
Yeah, I would say like I when I moved down here, because I'm from Illinois originally, I had never lived in a town where like the yellow lights are like blinking. So like at first, like I kind of thought like that was a stop, but then like I guess you're just
Yeah.
supposed to kind of like slowly go through. I got plenty of people mad at me whenever I was
Yeah, I
doing
would have been one of those people. Yeah.
for sure. I
My
also
mom always tries to give them like the benefit of the doubt. Like they're not from here. I'm like, no, they have a Louisiana Tech sticker on their car. They're from
yeah, they should know
like
by now. Yeah. I also saw in the kind of graphic from the texters that your favorite food is tacos, and obviously there's plenty of L jars, plenty a lot of Mexican restaurants here in Ruston. Like if you had to pinpoint like the go-to like taco spot for Gianna Morris in Ruston, like where are you going?
definitely the taco truck by the Exxon. I do spend either though or those. I think it's the same one that's over there by the food trucks. Those tacos, yeah. Like if I ever like, I actually thought about going there today because I was trying to grab something quick before practice, and I had like chose between like them, Dilla's, and Subway, and I ended up going with Subway. But the taco truck was definitely in my list today.
Yeah, it's always one of those things where like I always see the line that's like it's really long there, but I guess I never really find the time to
Yeah.
stop.
And Taco Bell has grown on me. I will stop by Taco Bell. It's not an often thing, but I won't look past it.
Absolutely. If you were to wake up tomorrow, you win like $10 million, you win the lottery. What's the first couple things that you're doing with it?
I'm not sure. I actually made this joke with with our strength coach the other day that it was like, um, if I win the lottery, I wouldn't tell anybody, but there would be signs. And I made jokes about like buying a car and stuff like that. But I don't think there's nothing like pressing that I would really want to buy. I think really just saving. I would love to travel. I think that's a goal of mine as I get older. Like I want to be somewhere. Like I always tell my family, my friends, like I don't see myself like sticking somewhere too long. I think I just really want to explore the world and stuff like that. So I definitely think get to a point in life where I think that's what I would save it for. Some plane tickets, some hotels, stuff like that.
Is there like a couple bucket list like places you would love to travel at some?
Um, Really anywhere out of the country. I feel like I've been, done my fair share of traveling around the United States, whether it was AAU, just, I mean, I've played so many sports. We travel all over the world. Even now, we just went to Delaware, like traveling all around the world to play. So definitely getting out the country. I haven't been too many times. So definitely just wherever I can get, I think that'll be exciting. Spend a little time there, different cultures, different environments.
Yeah, absolutely. Last one for you here. I saw that again in a couple videos ago, I think from last season. You said that you're obviously a computer science major, and your hope at the time was to go into digital forensics. I'm curious, like,
Right.
as someone that's not familiar with just kind of that major, that career path, like, what does that specifically look like, and what do you hope to, I guess, do within the digital forensics, I guess, field?
Yeah, so I always wanted to be like in like a laboratory type of setting. That's kind of where I started at. And then my senior year of high school, just as an elective, I took a computer science class and that just kind of shifted everything for me. I loved it. And so I've always been interested in like the criminal justice field and stuff like that. And so once I took that class and I was able to like, I was in an AVID class my senior year, and that's really like a class that we just look in, the future, and I think just exploring different things like that. And that's when I discovered forensics. So yeah, I just definitely want to get in the forensic field. But as I looked into it, like I'm not one that can be like on a crime scene. Like I'm not built for that. So once, like I said, it's such a broad field that I mean, even now, like I have a psychology minor, like there's, psychology into that too. Just think different things, sociology, like there's so many things you can do. And I would say that I still want to be in the forensic field. Digital forensics is still right there, but like I said, it's such a broad field that I was like, yeah, I definitely still want to be in the criminal justice field. And like I said, when you look at different things that forensics offers, I mean, I have so much to choose from. So yeah.
Yeah, I can't do blood or anything like that. So
Yeah, I'm not
last one, I actually lied. I just thought of this as well. I'm curious. Like, I think it was a couple games ago, maybe the SFA game, or I don't know what it was, but I think you had made like your third or fourth three in the game, and you kind of did like a lob a grenade like celebration. Like, I'm curious, like what made you think of that? Where'd that come from? I guess.
Definitely. It was something we talked about before the LSU game. Like we went into that game really hyped, just wanting to go out there and just show what we can do. No matter what the rest of the public thought. I think that was a game that we were really, I think you could see that when we were out there playing. And so it's something we talked about, just having fun, no matter what the score is, whatever the clock says, who's out there having fun. And it was something we talked about. But I think when we came out there and hit like those first five threes, we kind of got like lost in the game. Like it was just like, oh yeah, like we're here. So something I totally forgot about in that game. And so the next game I was like, I got you guys, like I got you. But I actually like for John Morant, like you've seen him, he's done it. He's done like the whole throw it and but I was like, I don't have time for all that. Like I need to get back on defense. So I was like, I'm gonna throw it to y'all and then y'all can duck. So like I don't get in trouble or anything. So yeah, that's what I did for that game. But between that one and I also have to mention the other celebration I do. Like I'm a huge LeBron fan. So I just need the world to know that came from LeBron James, the GOAT. So yeah, definitely those are my favorite two. Shout out LeBron, if I didn't mention. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll take one more ad break, and then we'll come back to this interview. This portion of Overtime is sponsored by Southern Classic Chicken, proudly sponsoring local athletes. Southern Classic Chicken is the winner of the 2024 and 2025 Best of Lincoln Parish Award for Best Chicken. Located at 1010 East Georgia Avenue in Ruston, serving the best, most delicious fried chicken and sides in Louisiana for more than 35 years. With chicken so good, it's Ron. Southern Classic Chicken. Back here with Gianna. This is the final segment that we have, but obviously we're recording this the day before you guys play Middle Tennessee, and then you got Western Kentucky later in the week. Getting into the deep portion of Conference USA play. I'm curious, like you mentioned, you've obviously been in this league for a couple years now, gotten more comfortable with it. This is obviously the last year in the league. I guess like what are just some of your fondest memories of Conference USA? Like how would you describe, I guess, just kind of the style of teams that you've been able to play against the last couple years?
Definitely. I truly love the diversity of this conference. We play a little bit of everybody. I think everybody in this league has a different playing style. I don't think there are any two alike teams in this league. I mean, I think each team has, great things to offer. So yeah, definitely the travel, getting to see new places, that's been a really big thing. I think for me, some of the like best, I think the conference tournament is a really, really fun time for me. My sister lives in Huntsville, Alabama, so I have my own little crowd there. And I think from the time I've been here, we've played some of our best basketball. I know I have in the tournament. I just think the environment, it kind of reminds me like going back to like high school AAU, like just everybody being in one gym, everybody being at the hotel. I think that's something that I really like about that. And yeah, I just think being in this conference just for this long, I think you just kind of see, you get used to it, get used to different, playing styles and stuff like that. So I do think like for me, I've gotten more comfortable with it. Like my freshman year, it's some gyms it's really hard to play in. And so I think being in those gyms two or three times before, I think that's really helped me out. I've been able to get in those gyms and settle down, and especially with, freshmen, things that I didn't know, coming in my freshman year, like being able to let them know like this, it definitely is home advantages is a thing in a lot of different places. So just being able to get used to that and get a feel for the game in those different gyms.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, again, going into the Sun Belt next year, there's going to be a lot of different also environments, and especially different places as well across the country. I'm curious. Obviously, you guys were picked, preseason favorites to win Conference USA. I know for you and Coach, like the talking point since the season started was like, hey, we got to go out there and earn it. We got to, obviously figure out a way to get to the end of the season. And you mentioned it a little bit ago, like you feel like the last couple of years, like that championship has just, you felt it's just been getting closer. What do you feel like it'll take for this year's team to accomplish that goal and obviously win, a league title?
I definitely think consistency. I think that's something that we've proven that on any night we can beat somebody, and we've proven that on any night we can get beat. But I think when you've seen us play our best basketball, we're really fun to watch, and things just are so easy for us. But I think it's playing for that, not only each game to game consistency, but for 40 minutes. I think when we have those type of lapses, it really, gives teams those, it gives teams another life, and that's really something that we want to shut down. So I think if we can just stay consistent for 40 minutes for, 15 games, 30 games, however many that is, I think that's something that will really take us far.
The last one for you. I know again, like you've been in this program for 3 years now, 78 career games. Like for you personally, like how gratifying would it be to be part of the group that like got this program back to the NCAA tournament?
I mean, that's all I've wanted, since I've been here. I've just wanted to hold a trophy, wanted to cut a nut down, wanted to, wear a ring. And I think that's the goal when you come here in June, you come here in July, when you come, to Ruston to become a Lady Texter. That's the standard, that's the expectation. I think we all have that when we look up, we practice an attack every day and see those banners, see those jerseys. So we know what we're striving for. And I think it's just getting us back to that. And when you keep that in mind, and like I said, I was talking to my team the other day, like we stand on the shoulders of them. And so I think just remembering that every day that they built the foundation and it's our job, just continue to walk on it and grow it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like I mentioned, obviously there's still a lot of conference games left, and yeah, if you have not had a chance to watch Lady Texters, I would definitely encourage you to come out to the TAC this year and watch them play. But Gianna, appreciate your time and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.